Hello, this is Julian of Leafling Learns. I talk about self-compassionate language learning on the internet here on YouTube and on Instagram, and I am finally embarking on my Yiddish journey with the Workers Circle classes. I actually reached out to the Workers Circle and they were very generous to allow me into a Yiddish class in order to share my experience online. I am not being paid. This is not sponsored content. This is not an ad. It was just an exchange that was agreed upon. I was gifted this, if you will, but all of my thoughts and experiences are my own. I made a video recently when I was starting to look into starting a Yiddish learning journey. You can check that out and put it in the description. So this vlog captures the first 3 weeks of my Yiddish learning with these classes. Technically, in like real life time, it's been 4 weeks, but there was 1 week where we didn't have class, so it's 3 weeks of class. I'll just say that my Yiddish experience is not what I expected it to be. So let's go back in time now and check out how I was feeling right as my first class was about to start. Okay, we are 5 minutes away from my first ever Yiddish class. I'm taking Beginners 1 with the Workers Circle. I'm super nervous. I'm super excited right now, but I'm also really nervous. It's been like 15 years since I've been an actual beginner at something, like where I straight up know nothing. I'm going in with nothing and we'll see what I come out of the class with. Got some string cheese for good luck. Got my textbook. I'm not good at talking in like classroom settings, or I don't feel good at it, or I wasn't good at it in the past, so I'm not entirely sure how I'll be now. I mean, it's different than doing a one-on-one class, right? This is a group. It's a group class. Ugh. I don't know how to pronounce anything. I don't know how to say hello. Is it shalom? Let's see how many times I accidentally speak Japanese when I'm trying to speak with my new Yiddish words. Oi gewalt. I'm going in.
Und Shalom Aleichem, Julian.
Hi.
Aleichem Shalom. We're gonna begin by learning how to greet each other in Yiddish. And whenever I say Shalom Aleichem, that means hello. It can be used in formal or informal situations. It's always used. So, Shalom Aleichem, you can answer Aleichem Shalom.
Aleichem, I don't know how to pronounce. Aleichem Shalom.
Sehr gut, yeah. I always give the same tip. Have a little water, yeah. Und sehr stark, very strong. It helps, really, it really does. Ja. Ich heiße Gustavo. Ich bin nicht kein Yiddish person, das ist Gustavo. Ja. Und ja, ich bin euch a Goy. I always begin by telling that. Ich bin a Goy von Goiânia, Goiás. That's where I come from. So 3 times a Goy. And how did a Goy end up teaching you Yiddish? It's really a pleasure to be here. I'm very excited for our course. I am a student of literature here in São Paulo, and I fell in love with Yiddish. It happened. I met the Yiddish speakers here. I got connected with the community, and I've been loving learning it since day one. And I would like to share with you a little bit of my passion for Yiddish, because it is a Geschmackssprache, a very Geschmack is actually a tasty language. It's a wonderful language. Julian, kennst du a bissl erzählen? Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Julianne. I've wanted to delve into some Yiddish for a while, and I came across the Pablo Picasso quote that goes something like, "Only put off until tomorrow what you're willing to die having left undone," and I was just like, yeah, like, yes. So I just didn't want to put it off anymore. Yeah, and my grandma was Jewish. Technically I'm Jewish, but I didn't grow up doing any Jewish anything. I didn't hear Yiddish. I know that my great grandmother spoke Yiddish. and they were from New York and possibly originally from Lithuania. Not sure entirely. I don't really have much family left, so I don't have anybody in particular to connect with, but because I don't have a strong connection to my heritage, any heritage, and I know that I'm Jewish. That's the one thing I know. It's like I would love to connect in a way that's meaningful to me because I love languages.
Shkoyach. That's a great idea, and I'm glad that you decided to learn Yiddish now, not tomorrow. Julian, was machst du?
Good.
Good. Could you all say that? Was machst du? Here we have that sound that I said. We need some water, maybe, to help. Yeah, was mach, very strong. Was machst du?
Machst du.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. It's also sort of God zu danken. Baruch Hashem means literally blessed be the name. It's a very common way of saying that everything is all right. So, was machst du? Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
Could you all try it? Do, for example, Baruch Hashem with the R.
Baruch Hashem. Hashem.
Or Baruch Hashem. I personally do Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
Or even, Julian, if you're in a bad day and you want to say, don't ask, you can use it as well. It's a very common answer in Yiddish. So just say, don't ask. Frag nicht.
Frag nicht.
Yeah.
Und man sagt, for Lithuania, for example, people say lite. And in lite, when we say lite in Yiddish, we're actually referring to a space that is way greater than just Lithuania of today. So from Latvia, you can say Latvia, but as I said, they spoke probably Litvish Yiddish. They could even say that they came from Lite, from Lithuania. Die Mishpoche kommt von Latvia. Ja, oder die Mishpoche
kommt von
Lite. Ja.
Ich bin euch als du denke, ich bin ein Unheber. Sind deine Lektions schwer? I don't know how to say that one either. Okay. Class is over. Just ended. Just hit leave meeting. I don't know what I was so nervous about. It was fine. It was amazing. I love, genuinely a huge mood booster. I had so much fun. I really enjoyed myself. Gustavo, the teacher, is just such a gem. I'm obsessed. I think he's wonderful. He has so much energy about him, and it was really helpful having that feedback with pronunciation because, when I listen to Yiddish, I can tell that my sounds aren't necessarily matching up perfectly, but having that stuff pinpointed and getting feedback on it and practicing back and forth with somebody is so helpful because there are so many consonants in a row. One of the words was the word for classes or class. I think it's classes. Lektias. It sounds like Lexus, sort of. Lektias. Lektias. Lektyes. Lektias. It was seriously so much fun. Just a joy. That hour and a half went by so quickly. But really, I had a moment in the class where I almost wanted to cry because, one of the greeting type questions is where are you from? Where do you come from? Where does your family come from? And the fact that we're talking about this question and one of the immediate countries that is discussed is Lithuania, and how that's a typical answer or whatever in Yiddish, it's just an amazing feeling because, and it's not one I've had before because that's where my family's from. My family were Jews from Lithuania. I don't know much more than that. I don't know if they were always there. I don't know how much they moved around. And that's, not super mainstream, I guess, when you're talking to other people about where they're from, especially in America, if you're in Minnesota. In Minnesota, you're going to hear oh, Sweden, Norway, you'll hear across America like Irish, Italian, you know, that stuff is fairly normal. Germany. But Lithuania is not so standard, and to hear that being like, oh yeah, of course, like Lita, you're from Lita, your family's from Lita. We're learning standard Yiddish dialect, which is based mostly on the Lithuanian dialect of Yiddish. It's just, I don't know, something, I'm gonna start crying now. I don't know. It just feels nice. I don't know why I'm crying. I guess I've just never experienced anything like that. I don't know. It just feels special. Oi, gewalt. Yeah, it just feels special to learn a language that came from there. Yeah, it's very cool. I didn't expect this reaction from myself necessarily. Like, I know I was going into it knowing that I wanted to connect with my heritage, but at the same time, I didn't really know what that meant, right? Because I've not done that before. I don't know what that means and what that looks like and what that feels like. And it was kind of a loose phrase of like, oh, I'll connect with my heritage. So like in my head, it was like, oh, I'll learn some information about culture. But that's not like, the experience that I had was, even in the very beginning here, was way more visceral than that. Yeah, I'm excited for class number 2 next week. Things are a little bit chaotic over here today. Things are not going according to plan. My desk is a disaster. My class is starting right about now. Gotta get my shit together. Sind die Yiddish Lektions schwer?
Ja, sind die Yiddish Lektions schwer? Aber nein, Yiddish ist nicht schwer. Yiddish ist nicht schwer. Wir dürfen Motivation. Yiddish is nicht schwer. In Yiddish, when we don't understand something, a language or something that a person said, you can say, das ist Türkisch für mir. So I will say, Japanisch is Türkisch für mir. Oy vey. Aber Yiddish und Japanisch sind sehr schön. Ja. Ist Japanisch schön, Julian?
Yo, is schön. Oh, sorry. Japanisch is schön. We don't, in Japanese, we don't like say the subject of the sentence, so I'm sorry if I just like leave out half a Yiddish sentence by accident.
Kein Problem. Worst case scenario, it will be Turkish for us. Ich red schlecht, ja.
Schlecht. Ich red schlecht.
So, sind Sie gute Studenten? Is Rochel sagt, David ist klug und ich bin faul. Ja? Rochel darf ein bisschen Motivation. Darf needs.
Nice.
Ja, Rochel darf ein bisschen Motivation. And here we have some samples, printed letters. Der Aleph Base is schön. It's sehr schön. And here we have some handwriting. So you see, it's significantly different. Julianne, could you read, please, the first 2 lines?
Maybe.
Sicher, surely.
Do, da, de. Go, ga, ge.
Could you maybe read the third as well? You read so well.
Ho, ha, he.
Yeah. So here we have do, da, de.
I've just finished my second Yiddish class. The class was good. I was a little overwhelmed initially because we were talking about conjugating the verb for to be, and I'm clearly not used to having to conjugate for different people. You know what I mean? So like he, her, they, we, I, you know, in Japanese you don't have to do that. So I'm not used to conjugating in that way, so I was a little stressed out seeing all the different ways to say it. So there's bin, bist, is, Zion, Zayin. I'm going to be reviewing that to make sure I know what is going on. And then we did some Aleph-based stuff, and man, I like the alphabet. That's not the issue. Pronunciation is a little bit of an issue for me at the moment, just because so many of the sounds are like, it sounds like you're swallowing your words. Like they're deeper in your throat than Japanese, which is, I'm used to Japanese, which is a lot of sounds at the very front of the mouth. So I do not know how to make the R sound. Straight up, I don't know how to do it. It'll just be a matter of practice. But at this exact moment, I'm like, my mouth doesn't make that sound. Or it can be the Spanish R that you roll, but I don't know how to do that either. I can flip it once, like I don't know if that makes the cut. I don't know if that actually is exactly the resh. The letter for R is resh, which I don't know how to pronounce because there is the R in it. Ooh, I'm glad that was caught on camera. That's the closest I've ever gotten to rolling an R before. I hope my teacher never sees this footage. I really want to get more acquainted with the handwritten Aleph base. That's not, the homework right now is really focusing on the printed Aleph base, so then we're able to read that because colloquial Yiddish, the textbook that we're using, will be switching away from transliterations very soon. And that's going okay. That's really going okay for me. I saw examples of handwritten Yiddish, and it is just so beautiful to me. I did not know, like, I didn't think initially that it was this pretty when I was acquainting myself with handwritten Yiddish, and I'm like, oh, it would be so cool to write that and just write myself little notes. So that's my goal, and just getting more familiar with the words that we have been introduced to. We don't have a class this coming week, which is sad, so I have to wait, but I guess that's a lot of time to work on the alphabet. My handwritten Aleph base, I'm sure, will be stunning by then. I've been very graciously invited to check out the Yiddish Beginners Conversation 1 class. I was like, that's a great idea. I'll do that. 8 a.m., that's fine. But now that it's 8 a.m., it's very early. Oh god, it's 8:01. Okay, here we go. Sorry I'm late.
Nicht gedeiget. No worries. I want, as wir sollen sich bekennen auf Yiddish, that we should get to know each other in Yiddish. Ich heiss. Does anyone know what ich heiss means? So Yiddish has its own verb for my name is.
Ich heiss Julianne. Ich read a bissel Japanese. I'm not sure how you would pronounce that.
All right, I should have put that on. Japanisch.
Japanisch, okay. Ich bin geboren. I'm not used to so many consonants in a row.
Very well said. You said geboren.
Okay.
Yeah, geboren.
Okay. Ich bin geboren in Minnesota.
To like something is what's called a periphrastic verb. Ich hab lieb. So you kind of have two parts of that verb. I have lieb.
Ich hab lieb zu lernen sich Sprachen. Gehen auf lange Spazieren in Wald.
Spazieren. So in this case, the I is E.
Of course it is. Spazieren in Wald.
Stricken. Ich hab lieb zu stricken.
Is that a T or a K in the middle? Stricken?
Well, there's a T somewhere in the middle and a K somewhere else in the middle. Stricken.
There can't be that many consonants in one word.
To knit. Stricken, right. I've definitely...
Stricken. Okay. Stricken.
A strick is a piece of string. A strick.
Oh.
Is, lass mir reden a bissl wegen dem. Let's talk a bit about this. Yeah. I just looked it up. A monashka. In English, what is this? A praying mantis. A monashka, I think, comes from like a monasterial thing. Monashka. But is this a Z or an R? Sie is she, is he, eat, yeah? Sie is hungrig. She's hungry. Und sie will essen. She wants to eat. Was will sie essen? Maybe we learned about this in the mishpacha terminology.
Man.
Yeah, very good. Ihr Mann, her husband. Das ist sein Kopf. This is his head. Sein Kopf. Was meint ihr? What do you think? Was meint ihr? Is das Geschmack? Geschmack is delicious or yummy. Is das Geschmack oder nicht Geschmack? In Yiddish, in English you say try and try. Try to taste something, but to try like a food is versuchen. So Julianne darf versuchen dem Kopf, the head, von a monashke, from a praying mantis. Good.
So far, most of my homework has consisted of Aleph base related things, learning the alphabet. The focus has mostly been on, getting used to the printed alphabet and like the print, like that you would see in print in text. But it's kind of been important to me to also try to learn the handwriting versions side by side. They look quite different, and people aren't going to be writing in the print version unless they're like creating a sign they're gonna hold up, right? I definitely at this point don't have the whole Aleph base, but I have most of it down. I'm saying this very tentatively. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I've also done a few of the exercises in the colloquial Yiddish textbook. Those have been helpful. They've not been super strenuous or anything like that. It's mostly been Aleph base.
Yeah, this is the most important phrase. Thanks for asking, really.
Mir is we, right? And is.
Yeah, in this case, we didn't see this yet, but in this case, the ich becomes the mir, just like me in English. Oh. So, oy vey is mir is really woe is me.
Me.
Yeah. Woe is me. If things are going bad, the keyboard is not working, woe is me. And if the problem does continue, then you can even say, if you're really on Suras, you can say, Oy vey is mir und Wind. I'll write this down. This is important. Oy vey is mir und Wind. And it's an idiomatic expression because Wind is really wind.
Wind.
Yeah. So you're really in trouble. Yeah. Ein Buch, a Sach Bücher. So, sie haben eine Sache im Arbeit, sie haben ständig im Arbeit und was sagt David in Dialog? Julianne, kannst du vorlesen bitte? Could you please read this out loud?
Hane hat a Mazel, weil sie ist an Unheber.
Das ist die Konjugatie, ja. Ich hab a Bleier. Und sehr gut. Ich hab. Ja, can you all repeat that? Ich hab a Bleier.
Ich hab a Bleier. Rochel hat euch a Sacharbeit. Für was hat ihr so viel? A Mazel, ich bin sehr müde von reden so viel Yiddish. I think it's saying, why do you have like so much? Why do you have so much homework?
What is the sound of a chof?
Ch.
Ja?
Ch.
Chach.
Chach.
If you're not sehr mid after the slide, you're not doing it right because we're gonna get ois gechoft. No, this word doesn't exist. But let's see. The chof is the sound, And we have also the Langehof, because we have in the Aleph base words that have special final forms.
Tate, zet, bet.
Ja. Tate, zet, bet. Ja, sehr gut.
Okay, I woke up like 30 minutes ago and it's time for beginner's conversation 1. I really liked it last time, so we're just gonna go again and see if it's fine and great. Oh shit, I'm like 2 minutes late. Hold on. Oh.
So gain is infinitive, yeah. So you have the langer nun, the N. I call it the langer nun because in the Yiddish, you have 2 different versions. The one at the end is langer nun. And then in the erster person, so here we will be looking at some of those pronouns. The erster person, in the first person, you just have the root. And this is for present tense. In the itztiger Zeit, the present tense, you just have the root. So you take away that N. Ich gehe, I'm going. So gehen, to go, ich gehe, I go. But when you're saying an opinion, you say ich mein as, I think, and like that. Ich mein as Maske seinen effektiv.
Ich meine, as Maske seinen effektiv.
So was meint ich mein as Maske seinen? What's that for? Well, you can probably guess the whole thing. Julianne, so hast du mit wemmen zu reden Yiddish?
Ich will reden Yiddish mit die anderen Studenten.
Sehr schön. Part idiomen, some idioms. Just loy mit an aleph. Anyone ever heard that? Loy mit an aleph. It means absolutely not. Right. It's kind of like saying capital N no. You're saying loy is the Lashon Kodesh, it's the Hebrew
right.
to no. And there's one Hebrew where it's with a vav, and that means to him, something else. But if you want to be clear that you're saying no, you say loy mit an aleph. Though usually in Yiddish, how do you say no? You don't use the Hebrew. You say, how do you say no in Yiddish? Anyone know? Name.
Gut Morgen.
Gut Jahr.
Was hast du lieb zu tun?
Ich hab lieb zu kochen. Was hast du lieb zu tun?
Ich hab lieb gehen auf lange
Spazieren, yeah.
Spazieren, thank you. So I totally did not anticipate it, but I've unintentionally kind of ended up a part of the conversation class as well. They're actually back to back on different days. I mean, I do the normal beginners 1 Thursday, I do the conversation on Friday. I never would have anticipated that I would be willing in any way to engage in the conversation class. If you watched my first video about starting on this, you knew I kind of ruled out conversation class pretty quickly, but it's actually been very nice. I've been really enjoying it as kind of a supplement to the beginners 1 class. More practice, of course. I'm still working on my pronunciation, but in conversation 1 I've been learning kind of day-to-day phrases, relevant phrases to me that I can use in conversation, like right now, right this instant. Beginners 1 is similar, but we're learning how to conjugate to be, to have, which we kind of touch on in conversation 1, but not as in depth. So they kind of complement each other nicely, and it's just fun. It's just a good time. I kind of like having them both. I kind of like the conversation class. Who would have guessed that? It's been really nice, it's been really engaging, and it's actually made me more confident speaking Japanese as well. I don't know what it is, but I'm more interested in expressing myself in both Yiddish and Japanese now, which is like a huge benefit. Both of my teachers are great, are really supportive. They create a really nice supportive atmosphere where it feels safe to make mistakes, and it does feel like a corrective experience for me as someone who has kind of, I don't know where it comes from, but I've always kind of been insecure talking in classes in general and also in language classes. So learning that, oh, it's safe to do that. It's safe to ask questions. It's safe to make mistakes. It just feels good. It feels good. My brain's being rewired. My pronunciation is slowly maybe getting better in Yiddish. I feel like I know so many words now. I know, like, compared to how many words there are in general, it's not a lot, but, started from the bottom and now I'm somewhere, so that's good. It's a really fun language. I'm really enjoying it, and I look forward to seeing where the next 3 weeks of classes will take me.